Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. 2-year-old and stepfather killed in brutal attack in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Overwhelming support for Lieutenant General Rocky Me's decision to decline cabinet secretary post. And later in sports, Sunshine Girls and New Zealand series delayed due to diplomatic challenges. I'm Kalisha Williams, and here are the details. Investigations are underway to determine the motive behind the shooting death of a man in Central Avenue, Spanish Town, St. Catherine this morning. It's understood that a 2-year-old died after the house they were living in was also set ablaze. O'Shane Masters has that report.
A family is in mourning following an early morning attack by alleged gunmen in Central Avenue, St. Catherine. It's understood that sometime after 4 o'clock Friday morning, the hoodlums stormed the house and killed the patriarch of the family. The house was later set ablaze, killing a 2-year-old child. The deceased have been identified as 2-year-old Alia Gilzine and Javon Parcell. According to the child's mother, they were home early this morning when knocks were heard at the door and the men shouted police. She says she told her common-law husband not to open the door, and that's when the hoodlums sought to gain access to the house another way.
Then they fling some tree window and they cut the glass and come in there. And they go in the next room right there, so I lock the door and I take up my baby and run grown there. And I hide back I want mattress and lean up right there, so. And then come in and one of them shot him in the belly and then did a fight them back. And the rest of them come down on him and shot him. And when he gun shot down out, I clip them, then still a click it.
She says after that, the house was set on fire.
Me run in the room, yeah. And my baby, me a try come out with my baby and she drop out of my hand back of the fridge. She drop out of my hand. And me run go to the door and catch better and come back in. Me come back in and me and she a ball mommy and me couldn't see her. And me have to run and jump my mother fence over her land.
The Jamaica Fire Brigade says they received a call some minutes after 4 about a house on fire. On their arrival, they say the house was fully engulfed in flames.
After extinguishing the fire, we discovered the body of a male, adult, and an infant burnt beyond recognition.
In the meantime, the Spanish Town police say investigations are now being done to ascertain the motive for the gruesome act.
It's early days yet. We have some suspicions, but I don't want to go into them. We have some suspicions, so we'll allow the investigation to take place even as we speak.
And understand that some shot was fired?
I do heard of explosions earlier on. The investigation will bring that out as we go along.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
A man is dead and 2 others are nursing chop wounds after they were reportedly attacked by a man of unsound mind on Red Hills Road, St. Andrew this morning. It's understood that the attacker, armed with a machete, chopped the first victim in the neck. The injured man was assisted to the Kingston Public Hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Moments later, the suspect attacked another man, chopping him on the shoulder. The second victim ran to the Red Hills police station and was assisted to a clinic for treatment. The police say they went to the scene where the suspect was seen with the weapon threatening other persons. After firing warning shots, the cops managed to subdue him and seize the weapon. Residents who know the suspect say they are surprised by the attacks.
Come in. I don't know what happened to him this morning, but some demons or something come over him this morning.
What he did this morning? Tell us.
Well, I wasn't here. My husband come down and say dead man laid at the window there, sir. And I heard a gunshot further down the road, and they said somebody was scaring me because he attacked somebody else down there. But they were scaring him off.
Mr. Dalfos a good man. Him no get trouble, nothing at all. Him just drove all. Him run, him look a joke, and this just devastated. Me dramatized right now because me never did look for this. This just sad.
There is overwhelming support this afternoon for Lieutenant General Rocky Mead's decision to turn down the offer for Cabinet Secretary. General Mead declined the appointment in a media release on Thursday after mounting criticisms that his selection was a breach of the Constitution. We have more in this report. Principal Director of the National Integrity Action, Professor Trevor Monroe, is among those commending Lieutenant General Rocky Mead for his decision to decline the offer for Cabinet Secretary. The decision came 2 days after Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced his appointment to the post.
I was not surprised because I know General Mead to be a person of integrity who has served our country very well. I therefore would have expected that he would do what he did, which is to say that in a context where his appointment would be very much likely to be challenged constitutionally, it would be inappropriate in those circumstances to accept an offer for such a very important position.
The retired Army chief initially indicated that he was humbled and honored to be selected for the post, but there was some disquiet about his appointment. This, as the Constitution clearly states that the Cabinet Secretary must be selected from the public sector. We asked Professor Monroe about General Mead's appointment in the first place.
It would have been certainly questionable, if not in clear breach of the Constitution. And one would not have liked or wished, in the interest of good governance in our country, to have the appointment of a person to lead our public service, which is so important in our system of our governance, to be subject to constitutional challenge. You recall that we've had a number of constitutional challenges.
There are questions, too, about the application process. In his statement on Thursday, General Mead said he was invited by the Public Services Commission to be considered for the post while serving as an officer. Section 92(1) of the Constitution states that the Cabinet Secretary must be selected from a list of officers submitted by the Public Services Commission.
I respect very highly the opinion of our leading constitutional lawyers who have also expressed that concern. And I do hope that the Public Service Commission, in making a further recommendation, would ensure that that is done in circumstances completely beyond question or beyond reproach.
Continuing the news now, one of the region's leaders is calling for an end to archaic politics. Speaking at a meeting in the week of events marking the PNP's 84th anniversary in St. Andrew, Grenada's Prime Minister suggested that mere talk and promises may increase voter apathy as people are more informed and expect more.
A warning this afternoon to political organizations across the region to get with the times. It comes as there has been an increase in the use of technology by the voting public to become more aware of issues that affect them. Speaking at the PNP's Evening of Excellence, Prime Minister of Grenada, Dickon Mitchell, pointed out that the information gap between the political leadership and the common man is no longer as wide as it was years ago. He noted that the political scene before was more talk, but now action is being required for voting to take place.
Now more than ever, the citizens of the Caribbean require accountability and wise and prudent decision-making. Our citizens, particularly our young people, see themselves as global citizens. They are aware of their potential and the possibilities that are available to them.
He says what is needed now is a more consultative approach in dealing with the issues within Caribbean territories.
We must articulate a clear vision to our people, not only as nation states, but as a region.
Mr. Mitchell also called for greater support of institutions within the region, such as the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has repeatedly said that the decision of the CCJ becoming Jamaica's final appellate court would be put to the people through a referendum. However, two former Prime Ministers, Bruce Golding and P.J. Patterson, believe that such a move would not be good. Mr. Golding believes it would lead to a critical matter being divided on a political basis. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
In the meantime, Mr. Mitchell is calling for the monarch to be removed as the head of state of Caribbean territories. The calls have re-emerged following the death of Queen Elizabeth II last Thursday. Speaking at the PNP's Evening of Excellence meeting recently, he said for the Caribbean to move forward as desired, that step must be taken. His comments come as debate has been rife in Jamaica about how to go about becoming a republic.
So my focus and our focus should not be on that past, but on progressive ideas and the future of Caribbean politics as we assume the responsibility of repositioning Caribbean civilization for the future that we want and the future that we deserve.
Now, Legal and Constitutional Affairs Minister Marlene Malahoo Fort earlier this year said for such a move to take place, the Constitution would have to be amended. She further noted that in that instance, specific procedures must be followed.
And among them are the provisions relating to Parliament at Section 34, which provides that the Parliament of Jamaica consists of Her Majesty the Queen, the Senate and the House. There is also Section 35, which speaks to the Senate, comprising 8 senators appointed on the recommendation of the Prime Minister, 13 government senators appointed on the recommendation of the Prime Minister, and 8 on the recommendation of the Leader of the Opposition.
We now go to Cordian Barrett with the Business Minutes.
General Accident Insurance Company is taking the first move in the Jamaican market to offer a special coverage called Eco Drive for EVs and hybrid vehicles. Managing Director Sharon Donaldson says the company has been doing insurance for the fast-growing EV market in Barbados since June 2021, and it has been successful. Ms. Donaldson says given the current market signs, the experience in Barbados can be replicated in Jamaica. In international business, the German government has taken temporary control of 2 subsidiaries of the Russian energy giant Rosneft. The move puts it in charge of Rosneft's stake in 3 refineries in the country. This includes a key facility in the northeast of the country, which supplies around 90% of Berlin's fuel and in which Rosneft held a majority stake. Germany's economy ministry says the move was necessary to counteract an impending threat to energy security. That's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cordian Barrett.
It's now time for our regional and international stories. Here's Sandy Williams.
In the region, residents in the Leeward Islands are bracing themselves for the passage of Tropical Storm Fiona that is expected to bring heavy rains and maximum sustained winds of up to 50 miles per hour. In Antigua and Barbuda, schools were ordered closed, banks wrapped up operations early, and the regional airline Liat said several destinations within its network will be affected. Fiona is forecast to produce rainfall of between 3 and 6 inches in the Leeward Islands, and these rains may cause flash flooding in urban areas. Mudslides are also possible in areas of higher terrain, particularly southern Puerto Rico and eastern Dominican Republic. On the international scene, French air traffic controllers have taken industrial action as negotiations with the government over wages and recruitment issues have stalled. After several months spent negotiating to get answers, the main union for traffic controllers is critical of the lack of concrete element and guarantees from public authorities. Hundreds of flights have been cancelled and thousands of passengers forced to change plans. The strike is set to last from 6 o'clock local time Friday morning until 6 o'clock Saturday morning. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Kalisha Williams. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.